Hey everyone, you're just joining in the Little Nook by Fairy. Let's start our today's video, but before going further, don't forget to subscribe my channel, like the video and share. So let's start our today's topic. Today we'll discuss a very famous personality, the soul of the age, the applause, delight and the wonder of the stage. A glowing remark paid by Ben Jonson and Shakespeare's rivals. So from this quote, you may got the idea that we are gonna discuss about Shakespeare. So today I'll discuss the life of William Shakespeare. No truly reliable or authentic biography of Shakespeare can be written because very little about the man has come down to us from genuine sources. The available facts about his life are based chiefly on guesswork or conjecture. And when we talk about his parentage, then William Shakespeare was born on April 23rd, 1564, in the village of Stratford-on-Avon, in the county of Warwickshire. His father, John Shakespeare, was a farmer's son who came to Stratford about 1531 and began to prosper as a trader in corn, wheat, leather, and agriculture products. His mother, Mary Arden, was the daughter of a prosperous farmer, descended from an old family of mixed Anglo-Saxon and Norman blood. It is generally believed that neither the poet's mother nor his father could read or write. Of Shakespeare's education, little is known. For a few years. He probably attended the grammar school at Stratford, where he picked up small Latin and less Greek. His real teachers, meanwhile, were the men and the women and the natural influences which surrounded him. Stratford is a charming little village in the beautiful country of Warwickshire, near at hand where the forest of Arden, the old castle of Warwickshire and Kenilworth, the old Roman camps and the military roads, all of which appealed powerfully to the boy's active imagination. Every aspect of natural beauty of this executed region is reflected in Shakespeare poetry, just as his character reflects the nobility and the littleness, the gossip, vices, emotions, prejudice, traditions of the people about him. The nurse in Romeo and Juliet, for instance, is simply the reflection of some forgotten nurse with whom Shakespeare had talked by the wayside, one whose endless gossip but also the dreams, the unconscious poetry that sleeps in the heart of common people appealed tremendously to Shakespeare's imagination and are reflected in his greatest plays. In the same way, his education at the hands of nature came from keeping his heart as well as his eyes wide open to the beauty of the world, because he noted and recommended every significant thing in the changing scenery of earth and sky. No other writer has ever equaled him in the perfect setting of his characters. When Shakespeare had attained the age of 14, his father lost his later property and fell into debt. The boy probably left school to help to support the family of the younger children. It is not exactly known what occupation he followed for the next 8 years. From evidence found in his play, it is maintained that he was a country schoolmaster and a lawyer's clerk. But if evidence of this kind be collected from his various plays, then Shakespeare will be found to have been a botanist, a courtier, a clown, a king, a woman, a Roman, etc. He was everything in his imagination, and it is impossible from a study of his scenes and characters to form a definite opinion about his early occupations. In 1582, Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, the daughter of a peasant family. She was 8 years older than Shakespeare. From many mocking references to marriage made by the characters in Shakespeare's play, and from the fact that he soon left his wife and family and went to London, it is generally alleged that the marriage was a hasty and unhappy one. But there again, such internal evidences is untrustworthy. There are quite a number of references in his plays to the happy side of the love and marriage. And on this ground, we could as well say that Shakespeare's marriage was a happy one. And the fact that after his enormous success in London, he retired to Stratford to live quietly with his wife and daughters confirms his conclusions. About the year 1587, Shakespeare went to London, where he joined Barbade's company of actors. According to a tradition, his reason for leaving Stratford was that he had been caught stealing a deer from Sir Thomas Lowth's park, and he fled from Stratford to escape the consequences. But it is not certain whether at the time Shakespeare is said to have stolen a deer, there were any deer or park at the place referred to. At any rate, it is unworthy to construct out of rumor the story of a great life which had no contemporary biographer. Of his life in London from 1587 to 1611, nothing definite is known. It was the period of his greatest literary activity. He entered into the stirring army of England capital with the same perfect sympathy and understanding which he had shown among the simple folk of his native Warwickshire. He came to be known among his followers as the gentle Shakespeare. Ben Jonson said of him, "I loved the man and do honor to his memory on the side of idolatry and as much as any." He was indeed honest and of an open and free nature. To judge from only three of his earliest plays, Love's Labour's Lost, Comedy of Errors, and Two Gentlemen of Verona, it would seem that in the first 5 years of his London life he had gained entrance to the society of the gentlemen and scholars, and was already by the knowledge and observation as well as by the genius to depict the whole string of life of English people in his plays. This is very reason to believe that his life in London, unlike that of the typical actor and playwright, was not valid and desolate. Shakespeare's first work may well have been that of a general helper, an odd job man about the theatre, but he soon became an actor. The records of the old London theatres show that in the next 10 years he gained a prominent place. Within 2 years, he was at work on plays, and his course was exactly like that of the other playwrights of his time. He worked with other writers, he revised old plays before writing his own, and so gained a practical knowledge of his art. He soon broke away from his apprentice work and then from his pen carved in quick successions Love's Labour Lost, Comedy of Errors, Two Gentlemen of Verona, the English Chronicle plays Henry, Richard, Richard II, King John, A Midsummer Night's Dream, Romeo and Juliet, first or experimental stage of Shakespeare work. So the wide variety of these plays as well as their frequent crudities make this stage called as the experimental stage of his work. It is as if the author were trying to temper of his audience because to please his audience was the ruling motive of Shakespeare. Shakespeare's poems, rather than these early dramatic attempts, marked the beginning of his success. Venus and Adonis became immensely popular in London. It was dedicated to the Earl of Southampton and brought from him a large amount of money as a gift. This money Shakespeare invested shrewdly, and soon he became part owner of the Globe and the Blackfriars theatres. At these theatres, his plays were presented by his own companies of actors. His success and popularity grew immensely. Within a decade of his arrival in London, he had become one of the most famous actors and literary men in England. Following his experimental work, there came a series of great plays from his pen: The Merchant of Venice, As You Like, Twelfth Night, Julius Caesar, Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, Kim, Lear, Antony and Cleopatra. It is believed that the great tragedies of this period point to the personal misfortunes in the life of Shakespeare, but what these misfortunes were, it is difficult to guess. It was probably this unknown sorrow which turned his thought back to his native village and caused him to feel dissatisfied with his work and profession. In 1597, he bought the finest house in Stratford and soon added a tract of farming land to complete his estate. His home visits became more and more frequent till about the year 1611. He left London, settled permanently in Stratford-on-Avon. Though still in prime of life, Shakespeare gave up his dramatic work to live the comfortable life of a country gentleman. Some of his later plays shows a decline from the quality of his previous work. His last play was The Tempest, based upon an actual shipwreck. It is quite evident that Shakespeare thought little of success and had no idea that his drama were the greatest that the world had ever produced. He made no attempt to collect or publish his work. After a few years of quiet at Stratford-on-Avon, Shakespeare died on the anniversary of his birth, April 23rd, 1616. On his tombstone, the following lines are inscribed: Good friend, for Jesus' sake forbear to dig the dust enclosed here. Blessed be the man that spares the stones, and cursed be he that moves my bones. Thousands of people visit Shakespeare's tomb every year. His tomb has become almost a place of pilgrimage for his admirers. So that was all for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Stay connected for more literary videos. Me, Fairy, signing out from the Literary by Fairy.